It's an absolute beautiful day. The sun is out and I don't think this coat is going to stay on for long, but I've got plenty of jobs to do. But we also want to talk about Malvern. What an amazing day again. There was a little bit of drizzle at the end, but to meet all the other YouTubers, that's what I go for, and a little bit of shopping. But yeah, I also went to the garden centre as well the day after Malvern. Why? Because I desperately needed some savoy cabbages. I was looking through all my plants that I've got growing on, and I thought the savoys are not doing too well. I only had 3 that were looking okay, and I love a savoy cabbage all through the winter. It's one of my favourite things. You know, it's got a real dense flavour to it. So I also noticed that my collie and broccoli, you know, they weren't doing too well either. The germination was really poor, so nipped off to the garden centre, and just by luck the local one had some savoy, some collie and some broccoli, so I grabbed a tray of each, $3.99 for a tray of 24. I don't need that many, so half for Linda and Doug, half for me. So yeah, that's what we did. We just shared the packs basically. I've potted them on already in the greenhouse, so they, you know, I just felt like when they're in those module trays, as soon as you get them home from the garden centre, pot them on straight away, because there's no nutrient left in that compost. They're bone dry, they're normally not looked after enough, and I've done that in the greenhouse yesterday. So I have been quite busy this week. But also, if you notice, the grass has all been cut. So Mark came up, I asked could I lend his trimmer, but he just said he was up, so he just did it. So I'm happy for that. I want to level out that ground today now. I've got some weed membrane as well. Now, I don't think that's going to be a permanent fixture, the weed membrane, because obviously I'm going to put some raised beds and whatnot in there. But winter's come in and it's going to be muddy and wet, and also when they're building the polytunnel in only a week or so time now, you know, I've looked at it and I think it's about 10 days. So by the time you watch this, probably 7 days. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I haven't stopped talking about it. I've been over, I've moved the ribbons around again, and I've positioned it where I kind of think it's going to go. There's a more shallower bed now at the front, but that'll be perfect for all the spring bulbs. The beans have had it now. There's not a single red or white flower on these vines. I'm leaving them now to go to pod, and then obviously then I'll dry up the seeds and they'll be good for next year. So it's quite frustrating really, because they're all green, especially the Greek gigantes. I have had a few off, so they've all been stored, but I'm hoping for quite a few more of those for the Greek gigantes on this side. Next year, I'm probably going to do it a little bit different. I probably will put the Greek gigantes on their own separate trellis area, and I think I'm going to do three trellises next year, 3 apexes of beans, because as much as I absolutely had an abundance of them, you can never have enough. Also, the remaining brassica beds now, they could do with a real good tidy up. Remove all the dead foliage, give it a good weed, might even give it a feed, one last feed, and then these should be good to go. I want to tighten up the nets, and I've also got a new netting system for the Brussels sprouts, because at Malvern I found these ingenious stakes that got little loops in it. I'll show you in a minute. I've left them in the car, and you can either use them to build teepees and trellises, or you can use them in the polytunnel for things to climb up as well. They're going to be perfect for what I need. But I always struggle with the sprouts, because they gain so much height through winter. You're trying to bring up those nets and they start cramping it all down. So I think that those stakes that I've bought will solve my problem here, and then I can use them again then after the sprouts in spring in the polytunnel. So win-win. Now I'm hoping Linda will pop down today as well, because I've bought some donuts, because it's probably my turn that I buy some cakes and whatnot. But we had such an amazing time at Malvern. Malvern for me is all about the YouTubers, meeting up for them, and also buying the odd plants at the end and looking for new gadgets that can improve the garden. The usuals were there, Steve, but yeah, it was lovely because there was new faces there. You know, Sarah from Sundays in the Garden, Annie came, you know, there was a lot of others that always come now or have started to join on, and it was really nice. You know, it was nice for them to join on, and hopefully they'll come again. I'm looking forward to spring already. I think spring one will be a good one this year. I hope so anyway. But yeah, looked at all the giant veg. Freddie was there. Jem in the garden came this year as well, which was nice. Tony, Jane Kelly, Steve Digwell, like I mentioned. I can name all of them, but yeah, Claire from Farmyard Garden was there, and also Claire, thank you so much. Claire, I was buying my shallots and she came over and she bought me a set of shallots as well, the banana shallots. So I'm going to grow one set in the polytunnel and one set just outside the polytunnel, and we can compare them then at the end of the season, which was better, because is undercover growing better or letting them battle the elements in winter? Now in the past I've put my spring cabbages inside and they have done amazing, but the watering, you haven't got to water them too much, but you haven't got to let them dry out, so there's a balance. So hopefully the new irrigation system will solve that problem for me as well, but there's lots to do. Let me run the Malvern clips. We've arrived. Where's Doug, Linda?
I just found him. I lost him and now I found him.
Here he is. Here she is. Here she is. Queen of the farms.
The side.
Cheers, Steve.
Double doors there, and that's where you get the vouchers from.
Oh!
It's the very first room on the other side, so right opposite. Stands up about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Here she is. Old faithful. Excuse me, security. What are you looking at, Linda?
I'm looking at those lovely big onions by there. Have you grown any like that before, Danny?
No. And here we are with the giant vegan of the show. Hi, Kerry. Look how much lunch you've got, look how much food you've got around here for you to eat. So much food.
Oh, we're just talking about you. Somebody's singing.
Beautiful socks. We would have socks, hat, mittens, all the same.
And I think I need to mention the blunder that I had at Malvern. It is always me. Why is it always me? So as soon as I entered the gate, and I mean as soon as I entered the gate, Linda and Doug were behind me. Linda was doing some filming. As soon as I walked in, Jem was there, Freddie was there, and Freddie's mum was there. And I looked up and they started waving, and as soon as I walked in, I did the splits, ripped my trousers, my jeans. So for the whole day I had to sit down with a bag in front of me, or when people were having photographs with me, positioning them in front of me or whatnot, because I had this massive hole in my trousers for the whole time of Malvern. Why is it always me? So the ribbons have been moved slightly. They've slightly been moved, and I think it's in a better position now. Let me show you. I've kind of moved them up a little bit from the greenhouse so there's more space. I'm still toying back and forth whether or not to leave the greenhouse there. Now, I'm not saying that it won't get as much sun, because the polytunnel is there anyway, and it still gets a lot of sun, you know. But I'm probably going to use it as much as I think I'm going to use it now I've got the big polytunnel, because the staging's all being built in as well, so I'm looking forward to that. So will I be using it for seasonal? Probably not. I probably will put overflow in there, like cucumbers, maybe the odd pepper or chili plant and things like that. So I'm toying whether or not, you know, moving it and making such a job of it for no reason at all, because what I could do later on is, once the polytunnel's up, I could slide it up here, you know. I could take the glass out, lift it up and bring it across and move it to this shed area here, because this is a job and a half in autumn that I am not looking forward to at all, because it's the scary shed. So this week's live is going to be Dora from Dora's Allotment. It's going to be Claire from the Farmyard Garden, and also, who the bloody else is it going to be? Oh yeah, it's going to be Kerry from Dog on the Plot. Yes, so it's going to be Dora, Claire and Kerry on this Thursday. So come along, because Dora's new to the lives and that'll be good for her. And also we can, you know, we can find out all the gossip of how she started her channel and why, and, you know, we'll get the inside scoop. I also want to tidy this area up as well today, because all the hedge clippings now have died down. They're spiky though, that's the only thing. They're really spiky, so I need to try and get in the shed and get my gloves. And I've marked out, and I think maybe the fruit cage could come over here, but I'm also thinking about putting it over there. So I'm being really fickle-minded about this. I'm glad I got like a week or so now to really concrete my ideas and set them in stone, because I keep changing my mind all the time, because I'm like, oh, it could be better there, it would look better there. What I'm worried about is that not having a structure over here or having a feature over here like a greenhouse. So yeah, because there's always been something there, you know. Right, onward, let's get some work done. Well, that's not a bad little pumpkin harvest. There was a couple more in here, but Linda came over. She wanted a few for a soup that she's making. So yeah, I'm happy to share them. But yeah, what a nice little haul for autumn. So at Malvern as well, at the end of the show, yes, I fell for it. Well, not so much fell for it, but I managed to buy a few perennial plants as well. And I think these would be great around the pond area. There's some purples, and also this nice tall yellow one as well. So they'll be planted up. I don't know whether or not I'm going to plant them out now because it's becoming autumn anyway, or just put them into buckets, leave them in the polytunnel or the greenhouse over winter, and then plant them out then, you know, in spring. I also bought some grasses as well. So I bought 2 lumen golds. Now these are nice clumpy grasses. I bought 2 because obviously I've got 2 ponds. I want to start putting some more grasses around the ponds areas because the bugs and the frogs don't like to have a little hiding areas, so I've done that as well. I also bought, even though I go on about that I've got some and I've saved some seeds, I bought some more cadors. Now I've got some saved cadors as well, I'll show you now, which is here. Now if you notice, I didn't have the best crop this year. I think it's because I was moving plots and I pulled the garlic maybe a couple of weeks too early because of timing restraints, but as you can see my cadors wasn't as big as it normally is. But I managed to buy another bulb, so as you can see it's double the size. And I mean, I'd rather buy one and then have a good crop as well. So I bought another cadors from Malvern. Now these are £6 a bulb at Malvern, but it's a good investment because out of this one you'll have 2, 4, 6, 8 garlic out of this one for £6, and then you'll keep 1 or 2 then for the following year and the following year and so on. So it's a good investment. But I also bought a new one called Pulenk, I think it's called. Now it's a purple variety as well because I like the purple varieties. It's a nice big bulb, so that's another garlic I'm going to try. And like I mentioned, I got some banana shallots. Thank you so much, Claire, from the Farmyard Garden. She bought me one and I bought one as well, so we've got some nice banana shallots. So there's plenty to go in autumn and winter, so I probably will start potting these up now, and then once the polytunnel's built, plant them out there, so at least they've got a couple of weeks to start rooting anyway. But yeah, that's what I bought from Malvern.
Days without water along the sun-soaked road, we crossed over borders to get where we are. And it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you. I did it all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you. Nights without sleeping 'cause you fear the night, and days without eating 'cause it ain't enough for two. And it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you. I did it all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you. It's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you. I did it all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you.
Whew. So I've managed to clear out the Brussels sprouts and whatever these are. There's 2 of them in here, so if anyone knows what these are, pop it in the comments below, because they're not sprouts. So this bed is all cleared now. I'm going to use those stakes and build that up now, probably later on or tomorrow. I've cleared out this bed and it's just got 4 calabos left in here now, and they're looking amazing. The Swede bed needs a good clean out, so I'll do that next. Sorted out some of the leek bed as well. I'll do that another day over there. So yeah, it's coming along now. It's coming along. So the pumpkin vines are taken up from this area now, and I'll continue over the next couple of days to clear this off, because it's not going to be that bad. It's just a bit of cutting back some of the brambles, and I'm even going to dig those out because they're actually growing from the fence, and I think the previous owner put them in to climb over this trellis, you know, this fencing, but I don't need them. I mean, there's enough blackberries growing around the boundaries of the plot, so I definitely don't need them there. And plus, if I've got a fruit cage or something, they'll interfere with the net, so they're going, and this area then should be cleared. The builders then for the polytunnel, at least they've got a bit of space to work on as well. But I'm thinking about moving these 3 beds, plus I've got a spare one as well, and putting them here. But yeah, I'm happy with what I've done today. So these are those stakes I was talking about that I bought from Malvern. Now there's 4 loops all bent into this cane, and I think it's about 5 foot long. I'm going to push it into the ground, and hopefully this will solve my problem for the brassicas, like the kales and also the Brussels sprouts, because they're a bit taller, and if I have to, I can also push a pipe into the ground, and then this will slot into it as well, so it can actually be raised up even higher. So that's my plan, and I'm going to try now and get this over the Brussels sprouts and put some bird netting over, because the white netting's not needed now. That's more to keep out like the butterflies and aphids and pests and whitefly and all those things. But now you just need it to keep the birds off, especially the pigeons over winter. They'll be desperate for some foliage to eat. So yeah, make sure they're netted. Bird netting is perfect. Let's get it done. So the plan is to put these 3 on this side, 3 on that side. Now, a good thing about these is after I've used them in winter outside, once I've harvested all the Brussels sprouts, is you can actually put 3 of these in a row as well and thread canes through or string, and you can use these in the polytunnel outside for sweet peas to climb up. Now these are perfect because there's no sharp edges, and I thought after winter I can use these maybe 3 in a row and then start the cucumbers or whatnot inside the polytunnel. So that's the plan. So yeah, let's start building. Now these ones are obviously too short now, so let's take these out. Now I have spoke to First Tunnel as well about, you know, creating some extension legs for these so that they can be used again on a height and with some height. So hopefully they'll listen, but we'll see. So let's have a look. Yeah, they're perfect. So let's pop these in. Now I'm not going to cover the whole bed. Now, like I said, I'm not going to use this white netting. I'm going to use some bird netting because I can let the wind go through it even better, and hopefully this will work.
Never felt tomorrow closing in this fast. Oh, I guess time's in a rush. Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back while I'm on a one-way track. Now I know what it means to grow. Just
Well, I have to say I'm really happy with this. It works perfect with a bird net in. I've also put some clips in at the bottom, stop the pigeons from climbing over, and I might add another 2 here, but we'll see. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with this design. I might add another set of canes around to strengthen it, or maybe some diagonal ones, but this is pretty good. I'm happy with it. Now, if you've got a hole in your net like this, don't throw this away. I mean, you can either tie it up with a bit of string or use a cable tie, just like this. 1, 2, 3. And job done. Do you know what I mean? It just sews it up. There's another one over here as well. I mean, you could throw this netting away, but what's the point? You know, just pop a cable tie around it and clamp it all together, and it's good for another year. But like I said, if I need this higher again, now I don't think the sprouts are going to grow much bigger than that now, and I might go in here actually in the next couple of days and stake all these sprouts up as well, because the wind will start rocking them. And what happens with sprouts is once you start rocking the roots, they hate it. They actually hate it, and they start going to flower, and they just stresses them out. So we don't know what this is yet, but yeah, I might stake them up actually. These two I don't think are going to come to anything, but the sprouts over here, this one over here actually, it's got loads of sprouts on. But yeah, so I'm happy. I've got 2, 4, 6 sprout plants, but we'll see what happens over winter. That's the gamble we always take with gardening. I've also got some cane stoppers to go on here as well, because there's no children tend to come onto this site really down this part. So, but I wouldn't want anyone to catch their clothes, or you know, anyone bash their eyes on them if a child does come down here. So I will be putting some cane stoppers on here as well. It's getting closer and closer now to polytunnel day, and I'm honestly, I cannot wait. I think it's, you know, it's less than 2 weeks now, and hopefully we'll have a beautiful polytunnel year. Now I'm worried because next week we've got loads and loads of wind storms coming through, and I've seen there's been a bit of a warning on the weather site, so hopefully that'll pass before the polytunnel comes, because could you imagine they have to postpone it because of storms? I hope not. So I've done all my jobs, and even though I've harvested 30 pumpkins, Leo wants a nice big white pumpkin for Halloween, and I did plant 2 plants as well for those, but sadly the slugs had them at the start of the season. So come with me now and we're heading off pumpkin picking. Come on.
You have to stay like that. You'll be alright like that. Huh? It's only a circle. If he falls off, keep going. You alright?
And ignore us screaming, laughing. Someone's being dragged around. Leo, tell the truth, how much did you want your dad to fall out of there? Out of 10?
We did. 10.
So it was a nice little drive through the countryside to Crickhowell, and we ended up at this farm, and there was a nice big pumpkin painted on the side of the barn. We entered and Leo played some golf. We did some drawing. Ignore the Father Christmas, that was my sister. We drew a few pumpkins, we had a coffee, we actually had a nice fresh pizza, and then headed outside and we looked at all the pumpkins. I'm not joking you, there was thousands of pumpkins in this pumpkin patch, and we went around with a wheelbarrow, picked the one we wanted. Leo found the perfect white pumpkin for his carving, and then Leo seen that they'd actually modified some blue barrels that you normally see at the allotment site into little train carriages or something, and they connected them to a tractor, and Leo and his dad, who couldn't fit in there, had a little race around the farm, and it was actually a really nice day. We actually had a really nice time, and it was an absolute perfect end to the day. I'm Danny, and this is Grow Up.